free Odyssey app.
Harley in the first break.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real.
Yeah. Real, unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown!
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Get robbed!
Only on
The Fan Upstate.
Lonzo, I may be a bit sluggish out of the gates today. Because for all the bragging I did about how great the vacation was yesterday, I made one egregious set of decisions on my final day. So my final day of vacation, Lonzo, as we were waking up on Tuesday, we had everything packed. Everything was done the night before. So basically, we had to leave the resort at 12:30. We had 12 hours of travel time to get from Punta Cana, Dominicana Republica, down to, or I guess I should say back up to the upstate. And the lady friend and I decided during the trip, because we both, we try to take nice pictures with each other throughout the course of the vacation. We like taking pictures with each other, documenting our memories and whatnot. Neither one of us was thrilled with our bathing suit appearance, if you get my drift. All right? Neither one of us was thrilled with the way we looked in pictures. I have climbed back up to the heftiest I have been since I left the world's worst city, Jacksonville, Florida. And so we both decided, all right, when we get home, we're going back to it, right? Like we're getting back into it. Last year, we both lost a ton of weight. We have both put it back on. It's relationship comfort weight, right? Like when you're out there in the dating world, you put your best foot forward, and then your other foot forward, then your other foot forward. They call it a jog. It sounds terrible. But now that we've been together.
Yeah, you don't need to impress anybody anymore.
Right.
I mean, you're good.
We've been together 2 years, basically, at this point. We live together. We have a dog together. Everything's fine. So we kind of got to the point where we were both like, you know what? I think you're an attractive person inside and out. I'm not going to be hitting the gym 3 or 4 times a week like I was when I was trying to impress you, right? I know I've got you impressed. We live together, right? So, but at the same time, like I don't want to look like basically when I took off my shirt on the beach in the Dominican, people were trying to roll me back into the water, right? I don't want that. So we're both like, when we get back. So then we decided what was the best option for us, though, was that, you know what? As soon as we get back to the States, as soon as we get back to the upstate, we're going to hit it hard again, like we did a year and a half ago, like we did when we both dropped the LBs. We're going to get back to it. It's not that neither one of us needs to, have a 6-pack, or she doesn't need to be a size 2. We don't care about that. We just would like to take pictures together that we both want to hang on the wall at the house. So we decided last day of vacation, we can do, eat, drink, whatever we want from the 7 o'clock a.m. wake-up call until the head hits the pillow back in Greenville. And when we wake up on Wednesday, it's back to the grind. And we did that, except for, Lonzo, I woke up at 7:30. At 8:30, I was in the breakfast buffet. Our van left at 12:30. At 11:30, I was at the full dessert bar in the lunch buffet. When we got to the Punta Cana airport in the Dominican, we both hit the last bite of the Dominican restaurant for some Caribbean food. Then, when we landed in Miami for our layover, we decided back in the States, let's grab the old Wendy's 4 for $4 at the airport. Then, the other couple with us, as we were about to get on the plane at like 4:30, was like, yo, let's knock out some Pizza Hut personal pizzas. What do you say? So we did that. Then, When we landed right before we took off, we also decided to hit the Taste of the Island seafood restaurant, again, in an airport, and knock back some fried seafood platters with an S multiple. Then when we landed in Greenville on the way home, we were like, what do you say to some cookout, right? Last hurrah, last meal, let's grab some cookout. So we got a cookout, got a shake, got a burger, headed home, knocked that back, went to bed. And all of that on Tuesday was a phenomenal idea. And then this morning at about 3:15 a.m., let's just say it's a great thing that our bedroom has 2 bathrooms in it. Because last night was uncomfortable for me. And I know nobody wants to hear it, but the reality is, if you're like, I'm going to lose some weight, let me have one more pig out day, one more glutton day, don't do that.
Yeah.
Because your boy did not get 60 uninterrupted minutes of sleep at any point last night.
All I got to say is everyone listening right now just gained 5 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you can gain weight via osmosis, but if you can, I just did it to you all. And I'm going to tell you, I probably gave 5 back last night. It was rough. All right? I know this is gross. I know none of you want to hear this. I understand none of you want to hear this. But I need you to know why today I am going to sound like drunk Winnie the Pooh. That's Eeyore's the right one here.
It's Eeyore.
Yeah.
I think a good cleansing here and there is it's productive. It helps you.
I'll say.
It saps your energy, though.
Yeah, yesterday I had an unseasoned chicken breast over rice for lunch. I had like 2 pieces of ham for dinner. I drank effectively nothing but water yesterday. Look, I'm back on the grind. I'm back to it. We're going to the gym this afternoon so that we're nice and worn out because there's something happening tonight on television. We'll talk about that in a minute. But like we got back into it. And then last night, it was like, oh, hey, remember how much fun you had being a fat pig on Tuesday? Here are your repercussions.
I'm guessing you're not hitting the crunches today at the gym.
No.
It's just strictly leg day.
For the benefit of everybody in that building, no. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Happy Thursday morning. Glad to have you along for the ride. I am Rob Brown, the great one. Hashtag Dad Kicks, Colonel Grudge, the alpha and the omega of the Fan Upstate, the professor of perfection, the wizard of wave, Lonzo, is on the other side of the metaphorical glass today. A lot of stuff to get to, a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to get into on the show. But before we do any of that, Lonzo, I am officially ready to say it. I got out of bed this morning. I did my due diligence one more time before I came to work. I opened the door.
Late to the party.
There is a crispness to the air. There is a electricity running through the upstate. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's football season.
It has been for a couple of weeks, but it's you're like that guy who shows up to the party late just to make an entrance. Welcome.
And then walks in and goes, "The party's here."
I'm guessing you've literally said that before.
Every time I go to a party.
Okay.
Unless I'm getting paid for the gig, I'm not getting there on time. Never have. Never have. I know that about myself. I now tell people that fact about myself. If you invite me to a thing and I'm not getting paid for that thing, I will be late to the thing. And when I get there, I will say, all right, everybody, you can start the party now.
As if no one noticed you were there when you got there.
But I am now here to this party. Ladies and gentlemen, it is football season, baby.
What a dilemma I have, though. I have a major dilemma. Because I hate both these teams, but I really want to watch football. Last week when the Hall of Fame game was on, you were, on vacation, we had a major storm that knocked out power. I could not watch. And I was even DVRing it. Doesn't work if there's no power. So didn't get to watch 1 minute of football. So I'm looking forward to, but not looking forward to tonight.
Can I?
I'm hoping to be able to make fun of both teams.
Can I tell you something amazing? At the resort in the Dominican, opened at 4:00 every day. They had a sports bar, and the sports bar had about 30 big screens in it, and they had every American sports channel on it that you could ask for, and some that you didn't know existed. At 4:00, the sports bar would open. They had 4 pool tables, 2 foosball tables, 2 air hockey tables. And in an all-inclusive resort, Lonzo, you just go, can I get another order of chicken wings? And they bring them to you 6 at a time. So, on Thursday night, Rob Brown was able to round up the rest of the gang and convince them that at least half an hour of football should be watched in the Hall of Fame game. And we did that in the Dominican. So you are telling me that despite me being a country away for the Hall of Fame game last Thursday, I watched it and you did not.
There were 84 people without power. I was one of them.
You were 7 of them.
Yes, we were.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame game last Thursday. Did you guys talk about it at all? I'm just curious.
Talked about leading up to it. Didn't mention anything afterwards.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the host at the time did not watch. I couldn't add anything to it because I couldn't watch it. I had a legitimate reason. Power didn't come, and you know what it's like to not have air, but the power didn't come back on until like 4:00 in the morning. And the TV in the bedroom, I knew this would happen because every time the power flickers, it comes on. So at 4:00 in the morning when it came on, the TV came on.
Game was over.
I just meant it woke me up at 4 a.m.
You didn't go in big for Jake Luton, quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's too bad.
I would have enjoyed watching Jake Luton. You know why? Because it's football and I couldn't watch it.
You got 2 games on the old television this evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait. I only said 1. So there's another one on
There's
TV?
2 games on tonight. Let me phrase that. The second one is not on national television. So if you're willing to hunt a little bit, there are 2 games available to you this evening. Starting at 7:00, the New York Giants will be on the road taking on the coordinatorless New England Patriots. Hoodie and his not offensive coordinator and defense coordinator will host the New York Football Giants. That one's going to be on the NFL Net. That one will be at 7 p.m. And then half an hour later, a game that is not being broadcasted on national television, at least not that I'm aware of, the Titans of Tennessee will be on the road taking on the Baltimore Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore.
I'd rather watch that game, for sure. I know probably none of the stars are playing, but I'd much rather watch that game.
No interest in seeing what a coordinatorless New England team looks like?
Oh, I just said I'm going to watch and make fun of it. I also have another problem. The storm knocked our HD dish just slightly off.
Oh,
so
no.
I have to watch NFL Network in standard def.
Ugh.
Yeah. Even on a huge TV, it's still standard def.
Oh, that's gross.
I know.
Oh, that's gross. I got to tell you, at the advent of HD TV, and then again at the introduction to 4K TV, both times Rob Brown at the time was like, is it really that big of a difference, guys? Is it really that big of a difference? And now the concept, the thought of regular production television makes me want to vomit. So does my diet last Tuesday, but you get it.
The cable company was out yesterday because we were going to switch to cable. We're too far away from the road. So we're stuck with doing the dish thing.
Good news living on the compound. No one will find Lonzo when the apocalypse happens. Bad news about living on the compound. Hey, sorry, bro. You're too far away for basic cable.
So I'm stuck with standard def tonight.
Ugh. Oh, gross. I would invite you over to watch the game tonight, but nobody wants to be in my house for the foreseeable future.
If it was a team I really wanted to watch, I would just come here. I got a key.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Ladies and gentlemen, it is football season, officially and on the record. What's that mean? It means we got games tonight. It means we got games tomorrow. I love you tomorrow, including a 6 o'clocker, a 7 o'clocker, a pair of 7:30s, and an 8:30.
You know what else we got? Well,
Football Saturday and Sunday.
We do. And, of course, the Panthers play Saturday. They play Washington.
Correct.
But Saturday night, we've got football right here on the Fan. We have the Dallas Cowboys versus the Denver Broncos.
How about it?
Starting at 8:30 Saturday night.
How about it? Zeke and the boys. Looking forward to that. And, by the way, in an act, Lonzo, of shameless self-promotion, we also have live football next Friday right here on the Fan Upstate. Friday night, we get the Burns Rebels season opener. That is right. The Burns Rebels season opener. And I have been told, as they set to get set to take on Brooklyn Casey High at 7:30 next Friday, I have been told, Lonzo, that not only is the new voice of the Burns Rebels incredibly handsome, but he's pretty good on the radio too. It's the rumor on the streets.
I cannot wait to hear the inaugural broadcast of said person next week. Probably will do my usual in studio for the first week to make sure everything's good. So I'll probably be here listening to whoever that person might be.
Would you have a breakdown Monday? Grade that performance out, just so we can debate the skill, talent, and attractiveness of the new voice of the Burns Rebels.
Absolutely, because I'm going to use a Mark Ryan word here. I like to stay abreast of somewhere he just looked and smiled. Not something he normally does when I'm involved. I like to stay abreast of what's going on in high school football, and I like listening to Burns football. I was involved in that from the beginning when we first started getting them in the building. Did a Burns coaches show, so I just feel like I have some ties there, and they're usually pretty good. And I can't wait to hear what that person sounds like on the air. And luckily, the person who's producing has some experience with that person, so they know about the fader.
The most basic elementary part of radio. Well, you know what? That's not unfair. Because if you're doing my show, the fader is the most overworked piece of equipment in the room.
I am also curious, having worked with different play-by-play voices on that particular for Burns. There's been some calm guys, and then they hit that next level. And there's an octave change, and it's just totally shocks everybody. And I don't think we have to worry about that with you, because it's just going to be boom from the beginning. Oh, I gave it away.
Here's the thing about play-by-play. For me, it's actually not. You kind of have to. Now, I will tell you, like this is my between the plays describing the stadium.
So this
voice.
Is not a touchdown call voice.
No. No, you'll need the slider when the touchdown comes.
Okay.
You'll need the slider when the big play happens. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a quick break. We have a lot of things that we need to get to today. I saw an article written about the newest South Carolina Gamecock basketball player, the #1 recruit in the country, G.G. Jackson. And the sports writer in question went in on Gigi for making the decision to come to South Carolina. He said he didn't make this decision to be the best basketball player. He didn't make this decision to play in the best basketball culture. He made this decision on money. Boo. I got news for you. I'm happy for him. And I'm going to dress that down when we come back right here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. All right, stream. Appreciate you guys showing up. Stick around. Got to do an endorsement. BRB.
Keyword.
Eight 3772 864 448 3772.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission.
Brought us back to say absolutely nothing.
No, Fisher
my
Investments
brain
doesn't
is
sell
empty.
any
Absolutely
commission-based
nothing.
investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on
All right,
sales.
let's see who we got in the
Nope,
chat so
never
far
at
this
Fisher.
morning.
We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in
Skrilla?
our client's best
That's
interest.
it.
It's the highest
Mike?
standard
No,
of care
Mike's
for a
popped in.
financial
Oh, I
advisor.
missed
He sent us a
How do you
heart
know what's in
emoji.
Oh,
your
yeah.
best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio.
Is that just a
based on
regular
trade
heart or is that a
Enrollment in
broken heart?
Home Mill
But you
neighborhood off
probably
of
sneak
Old
in some
Buncombe
hidden
Road.
and layered
Uh-oh.
fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers.
Hey, look at the tomato
Visit
thing
Fisher
that I
Investments
sent you.
saw
On.
it.
to find out
hilarious.
how
Yeah,
investors like
and
you
accurate.
switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Running a business comes with pressure. Remote workforces, HR compliance, retaining top talent. You start to feel boxed in. Fortunately, there's Insperity. They put 30 plus years of HR service and technology to work, offering my employees competitive benefit options while
Gracias.
Hey man, you know I didn't do it for a week, so I forgot how to do it. What can I say? 2 days in a row, I forgot to take it out of utility. Fire me, okay? Please don't fire me. I don't.
don't fire
I don't want to. I don't want to be fired. My goal is 62. I still got a few years for that. I don't think I'm gonna make my goal, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna reach that point where I go, I just don't understand how to do this. I'm sorry.
Sean Ezel entered the mortgage business in 2001 after leaving the Marines. He felt that local veterans and people in the upstate weren't getting the service they deserved when it came to buying a home. That's why he started Palmetto State Home Mortgage. For over 21 years,
I just read an advertisement
and still is to say
for a hair dryer
say no. They
that it's like a
USDA.
it like goes over your head like a balloon and inflates with hot air. It's like a salon hair dryer, but you can just use it at your house while you're working or whatever. And it says, this hair dryer attachment allows you to enjoy the fun of the hair salon at home, and you can solve the problem of dry hair yourself. The hair dryer solves the problem of dry hair? You got it? What? Huh?
Maybe it keeps your hair moisturized so it's not dry. The problem, yeah, I don't know.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Lonzo will be a part of the show at 844-FAN phone, 844-FANFONE. That is 844-326-3663. You can also text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N to 71307. We will read them live on the air. Read an article yesterday after I got off the air. And it was really interesting because there's a guy named David Travis Bland, who described G.G. Jackson's transfer, I should say not transfer, his dropping of his commitment to North Carolina, becoming the first only player in the modern era,
In the modern era,
to decommit from the Heels.
why did you go Donald Trump there? You know you did.
I kind of did. It was an accent. Era. The modern era to decommit from North Carolina and become a Gamecock. Okay? Many people are doing it. Only the best people. It's like a 6.5 out of 10, Donald Trump.
Just needs to be recognizable. That's all.
Yeah,
And,
it's
and
not-
it is.
it's not bad.
It's all about the expressions, which you can see on the stream, by the way. If
Yep.
you're not watching on the stream, you should be.
Anyway, By the way, Rashad Beer going to join us in the next segment since I forgot to say that earlier in the show. It's a short segment here, and then we're getting out. Anyway, he said that he kicked North Carolina to the curb. Well, another article by Curry Kirkpatrick discussed from the State, by the way, discussed aspects of this and said that effectively he did this for money. And I don't know that it was the intent of Curry Kirkpatrick. And if it was not, I apologize. But Kirkpatrick kind of made it sound like this was a bad move. Or at least one that people aren't being honest about. Because Gigi did two things. Number one, by reclassifying and entering school, he moved up his ability to get into the National Basketball Association, which many of us suspect he will, likely as a lottery pick, by a year. And number two, by coming to South Carolina as opposed to North Carolina, which is full of blue chippers every year, Gigi has kind of become the guy, right? Like if you're going to do an NIL with a basketball player in South Carolina, Gigi's the one you want. There's more earning power for him both in and sooner when he leaves college. And my question to you, and I thought this question out long and hard because I wanted to phrase it properly, but my question to you is this. So? That's it. That's the question. So? So what? So what? Who cares?
I'll say the so was not a question. When you added the what on there, that made it a question.
I mean, it's inferred, right? So question mark.
Okay.
I think it's the same. I think it's inferred the same. I don't know. Either way, the point is, so what? So what? If you are telling me that you wouldn't make the same decision when it would increase your earning potential exponentially, then I worry about you. All right? Then maybe it's the right call for you. You know? Lonzo and I have had this hypothetical conversation many times where I've said, all right, Lonzo, would you take another job at another station for $1 million? And Lonzo's got like 3 or 4 or 5 factors that he would need to all be in the positive, in his opinion, to make the move. Right? Whereas for me, the answer's, yeah, probably. You know? If somebody came to me with a check for $1 million and said we needed you to move to wherever, when I got this job and the boss was like, we're looking for somebody who's going to stay here for the long term, my response to him was, I'm going to be honest with you. The only way I'm going to leave is if I get an offer that when I tell you what it is, you congratulate me. Right? Yes, of course. He made a move that was going to make him more money. He's going to be the only guy, well, not the only guy, but the only guy that anybody signing a big NIL wants to get their hands on in Columbia. He has the option to effectively be the face of South Carolina basketball. And I don't just mean in 2023. I mean maybe the face. Program history-wise, he could be the guy. He could be for SC what Jordan was and is for NC. Right? So of course he did that. Of course the NIL money is an option or is a reason. Of course, moving up his draft ability by an entire year could extend his NBA career by an entire year. And if he does that, how many millions of dollars are we talking about? It kind of took me aback that I found not one but 2 different articles where people are like, oh, let's be honest, Gigi did it for the money. Hell yeah, he did. And if you're listening, Gigi, consider this a verbal high five from me, my dude. Good on you. Why is that a problem for people? Why are people so upset about this? He got recruited. The variables he was looking for line up in Columbia for him. Why are we mad about that? I promise you there is nobody in your life who has ever said, I am leaving where I am to take a better job for a much higher earning potential, and you went, oh, you were never committed in the... Get out of here with that. It's weak. It's weak, and it's tired, and it's a bad take, and it's old. Of course he did it for money. And a good game high five to Gigi for doing it. That is such a bad take. Oh, he did it for money. That's bad. No, it's not. No, it's not. Chase the bag, get rich or die trying. Slap Fitty's logo on it. Take a break. When we come back, Rashad Beard is the host of the Panther Nation podcast. We have a preseason Carolina Panthers game in 2 days. We'll take a look at it with Rashad when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. All right. Look who's here already. Rashad, what's up, big fella?
The 50 Cent reference, that was great.
Hey.
It's good stuff, man. I like it.
That album dropped when I was, in high school? And you better believe.
Why'd you say what? Does that mean you're trying to recollect and make sure you
remember? It was either
remember?
my senior year of high school or my freshman year in college. I don't remember because I'm old and that was a long time ago.
Might have been what I was pointing out. I don't know. Maybe.
But that, I wore the label off that CD when it came out. Wore the label off it.
It's classic, man.
How you doing, big fella?
I'm good, man. You said I'll travel a lot, and here you go.
I went out of town 1 week, dude. It's a big week, though. I'm still recovering. It hurts.
Yeah, it's tough coming back to the real world.
Rashad, my mom says you have a beautiful smile, just so you know.
Yeah, my parents paid for it. They had braces for a long time.
He got that streaming money, dentist.
Nah. I got the braces a long time ago, and I have permanent retainers, so they never move. Because I never would have worn my retainers. So luckily I had the permanent
and that is why
ones.
my mom does not say I have a beautiful smile.
By the way, I had braces for 5 years. You can't tell by looking at it.
Nope, same here.
But I lost my
Permanent
retainer.
retainers, man.
Yeah, I don't think they had them back in my day.
It's a long time ago. You're probably right.
Yeah. It was back in the 80s. So I don't believe that technology was there yet.
My dad's been gone 12 years, and I still feel I owe him like $7,000 for the braces that he gave me, and then I just didn't take care of me.
Yeah, it's got to wear those retainers, man. And I'm glad I have a permanent one, because if I didn't, definitely would have spread right back apart.
Yeah, my children have permanent ones. So, I mean, I learned my lesson for them.
By the way, my man Ladd did the research. Get Rich or Die Trying, February 2003. So I was a senior
Classic.
in high school. That's what I thought.
I was in college. Yeah, that was my freshman year.
I was going to say I was 30 then. I wasn't, but
Keegan said Zoe's braces back in the day probably looked like Jaws.
oh, they absolutely did. Hey, there's this thing called a palate separator. So they
Was that the one with the crank in it?
it had like had a key to it, and you had to put it in your mouth and just crank it forward. And when it was done, I had a gap in between my front teeth, and I was in high school wrestling at the time, and so every time anyone touched my mouth, I just wanted to kill them. I had a pretty good season that during all that, but every night before going to bed, I had to crank that thing. It hurt so bad.
Nope.
Then I ruined it all when I lost my retainer.
Yup.
Never thought I'd be, worldwide 6 days a week, where people could see how bad my teeth look. So,
Yeah, I do not have a TV smile. And you ready for this? The front not the incisor, not the canine, but the one that's right between them. I don't know what that one's called. But when I fell and KO'd myself a summer and a half ago, the bottom half of that one's chipped off. So it's like I took an already jacked up smile and made it worse by taking a nosedive onto a concrete floor.
You did look like Gangrel. Not everyone will get that
that's
reference.
True. I did have the front two were fangs for a minute.
Nah, I got it.
That's why we keep.
That's really old school.
That's why Rashad's in the circle right there.
Oh man, I got you, man. Old school wrestling fan, man. Not so much nowadays, but my ears to the streets a little bit.
Gangrel showed up on AEW a few weeks ago.
And got jumped.
He looked rough too. I saw that.
Also, can I just say, because Skrilla is right, The Brood had one of the best walkout songs of all time. That song did something to me, man.
It's tough. That's a tough entrance song. Yeah,
I was watching WCW during that time. It's gotten better.
Has it?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on who it is, I suppose. You should look up Karrion Kross's entrance. I still think it's one of the best entrances of all time.
Yeah, but that's a song's okay. That's a visual one.
But it's actually her singing the song.
Is it Scarlett?
She sang it in her bathtub, sent it to Triple H,
and he used it,
and they kept it. Yes,
it's a good sound. But that walkout's one of the better ones they've had in a while.
All right, here we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Join us on our live stream by going to facebook.com/thefanupstate or go to YouTube. Search and subscribe to the Rob Brown Show. You're going to get exclusive behind-the-scenes conversations like we just had about some of the better wrestling walkout songs of all time. While you're on the YouTube, do me a favor. Go look up Panther Nation Podcast. Get yourself subscribed to the Panther Nation Podcast. It will be your home for Carolina Panther talk, and half of the team that brings it to you week in, week out is my guy, Rashad Beard. Rashad joins us now on the show. What's up, fella?
What's going on, man? Training camp is over. We got Fan Fest tonight. I'm excited. Let's get it.
Back in Charlotte. And a preseason game coming up on Saturday, which we'll get to here in just a minute, as a familiar face will rock the headset across the 50 from the Panthers when Ron Rivera's club and Matt Rule's clubs get together. But before we get there, let's take a look back at training camp. And obviously, we won't spend the whole interview on it, although we could. The big question coming in is, who was the starter? Rashad, I got eyes on practice twice. We obviously got as much film as we could get, although it was very, very limited this year. As far as I'm concerned, Baker Mayfield is the starter. All right? If just on talent alone, Baker Mayfield is your week one starter. And I'm not just saying that because he's here, Rashad. He earned it in camp as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no question. And easily, he is a starter. I mean, you've heard Matt Rule come out and say, oh, they've had some up and down days. One day, one quarterback's better than the other. And I just don't think that's true on the days that I was out there. I did see some even days where Sam and Baker were even. But there was never a day where Sam just outplayed Baker. Baker is the better quarterback. He sees the field much better. He actually pushes the football down the field. And this offense is going to look different. I must come back up here. I must walk back what I said. I remember vividly what I said, and I'm completely wrong. And I got to own it, right? I said that if Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield were given equal talent, that it would be about the same. And what I saw is completely different. It's Baker he's a much more talented quarterback. I own it. Listen, I was wrong. Okay. When I see it, I looked at it. I looked at Baker, and he just sees the field so much better. It's like Sam is he's forcing himself to be safe, right? Baker is just more aggressive. He sees the entire field and he's just better. So I was wrong. You were right.
That sound you heard, ladies and gentlemen, were the wheels of my chair being pushed back as I stood up to physically take a bow because I told Rashad. I think of all the things that Rashad and I talked about, that was the only time where I told Rashad he was wrong. And I'm wrong a lot. I'm good at being wrong. I practice it. But I knew that one was going to work out. I'm glad it did. I'm glad you came around. That being said, I'm glad you hit on that. Because there's an old phrase in football, right? Like prevent defense prevents you from winning. Playing not to lose is the best way to do just that, etc. It felt to me like Sam Darnold was playing as if the starting job was his and he just didn't want to do enough bad things to lose it. When in reality, it was not his. It was, I truly believe, up in the air, and he didn't do enough things to show he had the down-the-field talent to make it happen. Baker won the job, but as much as Baker won the job, I feel like Sam lost it because he became captain checkdown in camp, which is where you're supposed to be figuring out how to force the ball.
Yeah, in camp, it was very noticeable. You can see Sam Darnold, he would check down to his running backs, check to his tight ends. And then when the Baker gets on the field, he just pushes it 30 yards. And you can see, I mean, the connection with him and Robbie Anderson. I mean, I saw several practices where Robbie Anderson was catching 50, 30-yard passes. Shi Smith, another guy, South Carolina product, we got him involved one of the last couple of days of practice. And these guys are field stretchers. You have to get them the football down the field. And I feel like Baker Mayfield is going to – and I feel like McAdoo's going to call that up. I really feel like McAdoo is going to want to push the football. And Baker, he just was so safe with the football. And it's like, it's one thing to be safe and productive, right? I go back, that's Teddy Bridgewater to me. Teddy Bridgewater was safe and productive, right? But then you have Sam Darnold, who was safe. He tried to be safe, but then he turned the ball over. And that's not, you can't be safe and have turnovers, right? But then you got Baker, he's going to take some chances, and he's going to open up the field and give some guys. He's going to make some room on the field, so it'll allow Christian McCaffrey, it'll allow that running game, so everybody doesn't pack it in on us. And that's what was happening the past couple of years. Defenses were just packing it down on us, and we weren't testing downfield. And so I think Baker Mayfield is going to open the offense up, and I saw that in camp. That's one big takeaway I saw.
Rashad Beard joining us here on the show, host of the Panther Nation podcast, which you can subscribe to on YouTube. Make sure you've got yourself linked up with them. I want to move away from the QB competition because that was the big talk. I saw Matt Rule say yesterday that the plan for Christian McCaffrey is to basically coach as if injuries aren't a concern, right? To attack. In fact, I think he said the plan is to attack, is to go no holds barred. Lonzo and I have had a theory the last couple of years that's been the cause of McCaffrey's injury. When you're running a guy who's not a power back, off guard as much as you're running him on wheel routes and out routes, you're basically getting him hit more than he needs to for the same amount of production that you would get out of him if you didn't do that. It kind of feels like Matt Rule fell into that trap the last couple of years, and I'm a little concerned he's going to do it again this year. And I think we all agree. I think the Panthers are good enough to be a wild card contender this year. A lot of it's going to have to do with how good the Saints and the Bucs are. If they do it again with CMC and he gets hurt again like he has the last couple of years, that competitiveness that Carolina has worked hard to build goes out the window for one more year.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that Christian McCaffrey is a talented running back. He's one of the most talented running backs in the league, and he's elite, right? But those touches add up, and when those touches weren't necessarily equating to wins, we've got problems, right? And so that's where I look at it. All that production is awesome. 1K, awesome. History, right? But we have to make sure that we have three capable running backs. Chuba Hubbard, use them. Deontay Foreman, use them. Like, I feel like those 1 to 2 yards, those 3rd and 2s, 4th and 1s, Christian McCaffrey shouldn't be on the field. Or he should be on the field, but he shouldn't get that I'm the battering ram guy. You've got Deontay Foreman. Use him, right? And so I don't know if Matt Rule's going to fall into the trap. He shouldn't, because he has the talent behind Christian to spread it out, and I hope he does that. And Christian says he feels good. Christian says he's ready to go, but I certainly hope he doesn't, use him as a battering ram and just give him the touches there. And I think Baker's going to help that out, right? Again, pushing the football down the field, getting the football to your receivers, your tight ends. Let's spread the love because I think that makes Christian better as well.
Agreed entirely. All right, couple more questions with Rashad Beer before we let him go. All right, I threw this out as a possibility yesterday, and there is a contingent to it. Lonzo almost sprained his neck, shaking his head no. Roquan Smith has asked for a trade out of Chicago. He's not happy there. My question was Robbie Anderson for Roquan Smith to put an anchor in the middle of that defense. You're good on the defensive line. You're good in the defensive backfield. That middle of the field, that second level, the linebackers is the only spot I've got a concern. Roquan would address that. And you got a dude who very openly said he didn't want to play with Baker before Bake was a Panther. He's walked back those comments, but not really with the same intensity that he put him out there in the first place. Roquan for Robbie to add that anchor in the middle of the defense. Do you have any interest?
I just don't see it happening, partially because the part of the reason why Roquan wants out of Chicago is because he wants to get paid, right? And when you have a $30 million, $40 million decision potentially coming up with Baker Mayfield if he balls out, I think you can't afford to add on to that. And again, if it was that, he just wanted out and he would take a veteran-friendly deal, I would do it. But he just wants to get paid. And so I don't think we can afford him. I think you got to be patient, see what happens with Baker, and then you may have to pay him. But to go back to your Robbie, the situation with Robbie, I think, has gotten better. And I think Robbie, you can see the connection. I've seen it multiple times when I went to camp. They're starting to connect. That deep ball to Robbie Anderson is working. And so I don't know if they've had a conversation, if they figured it out. I'm sure they have. But the on-field product looks to be good in camp between Baker and Robbie Anderson. So I don't see it as an issue moving forward.
All right, let's get to this NFL preseason game. The Washington Commanders, coming up against the Panthers on Saturday. We got about 2.5 minutes left. Rashad, kick this one around for me. Listen, it's preseason, a lot of rotation. Younger guys are going to get their chance. I suspect we're going to see Baker open. I suspect we're going to see Darnold in their second quarter, and maybe Matt Corral for the back half of this game. What are you looking for in this game? Because I try to tell people all the time, preseason scores, don't worry about them. It doesn't matter. You can go 0-3 and win a Super Bowl. We've seen it happen before. What do you want to see out of the Panthers taking on Ron Rivera and his Commanders this Saturday night?
Yeah, I think it's a good matchup. Even regardless of who's playing, Ron Rivera is a defensive coach. So it's good to see that offense go against a well-coached defense, regardless of who's playing, right? I want to see Baker get a good series in. I want to see him throw the football. I do. Again, he doesn't need to play the entire first quarter or anything like that. Maybe a good series or two just to get his game reps going. I'd like to see Matt Corral out there. He has not gotten a lot of reps in training camp. I feel like we're setting him up for a little bit of failure if we throw him out there and expect him to play a lot in the preseason because he has not played a lot in training camp. So I want to see him get some reps, but I also would say for Panther Nation to take it easy on him if he doesn't look that great because he has not gotten a lot of reps. I do want to see Icky. I want to see Icky play left tackle. They've been doing this whole 1-2 punch with him and Brady Christensen. I want to see Icky at left tackle, and I want to see him get a couple of series, maybe one with Baker, maybe one with Sam, just to kind of get his feet wet. Make sure he's getting some reps, some good game reps. I want to see Brandon Smith. I want to see Brandon Smith at linebacker. I want to see what he's looking like. I want to see what that defense is going to look like. Some of the lower tier guys, some of the second, third string guys. I want to see what that rotation is looking like because we do have a nice first string, but as you get into that depth, it's a little questionable. We'll see what happens there. I want to see a secondary. I know JC we've had some injury bug issues with our secondary. JC may or may not play. Not sure how that's going to turn out. But I want to see the secondary, see what those guys looking like. Want to see the depth in that. But again, like you said, I don't expect a high scoring game, wins or loss. I don't care about that. I just want to see my guys get good reps. That's all I care about.
That is Rashad Beard, half of the Panther Nation podcast. Go find them on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed. Your home for Carolina Panther football talk. Rashad, my man, great stuff. Next week, we got a game to break down, fella.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's back. Football's back.
That's right. That's Rashad Beard. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Appreciate you, big dog. We'll talk to you next week, fella.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't know if I told you this or not. I started playing Far Cry 6 again because I've never beat it.
That is the Cuban one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And turns out there was a thing that dropped that I didn't notice. You can play with Danny Trejo. I mean, you go pair up with Danny Trejo.
Now I'm buying this game.
Your main character is called Danny, and the name of the story is Danny and Danny. So I haven't went over. He's way over on another side, and I need to take more territory before I get over there. The level is way too high for me yet to get over where he is, but I can't wait to go do that. And I hope he has a machete. I don't know if he does or not, but the fact that your character has one, he would probably have one. So it's one of those games. I bought the season pass, and then Cameron and I were playing together. And
is that on season pass?
No, you're thinking Game Pass.
The
season. Okay. You know how you buy a season pass?
Yeah.
All the DLC drops, you get it. I've been waiting for him, and I've been having a hard time wearing headphones all day and then wearing the headset. It's giving me a headache. So
dude,
I
paid the extra money when I bought my headset to get one that had extra padding on the ear, like a fluffier padding, not like the hard compact.
Mine
padding.
does. It's not that. It's the top of my head that hurts.
Someday love will find you, break those chains that bind you. One night will remind you that we touched and went our separate ways. And of course, after we did this promo, she has disappeared from SmackDown. Do I have a second to grab my monster? No, I don't. I'll wait.
You have like a minute and a half.
Hey, I can get it.
concert in the first break.
10-4.
It'll probably still be in your head, so.
Well, hello, all you good-looking people. It is time for our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show, and it starts right now and right here on the Fan Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Good morning, America. What up, world? It is great to be back with you once again. I am the aforementioned Rob Brown. Directly across from me on the other side of the metaphorical glass, the Wizard of Wave himself, the great one, Lonzo, is at the helm, and we are waiting for you and your comments on the phone line at 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-FAN-FONE, 844-326-3663. You can also text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307, 71307, and you can start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We will read them on the air. You can also tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show on Twitter. You can get at Lonzo Onward, and you can hit everybody in the building at The Fan Upstate, at The Fan Upstate if you want to go in that direction. By the way, the show is better when you are all a part of it. I've said that a million times. I'll say it a million more. The show is better when you guys are a part of it, right? When you guys are interacting with the show, when you guys are dropping bombs, when you guys are having takes, when you guys are coming at us with your thoughts, the show is better. Lonzo and I keep the text line up the duration of the show. A lot of hosts will just kind of check it at the end of the hour and rattle off a bunch at a time. I want to be interacting with you guys full time. I want you guys on the phone line at 844-FAN-PHONE. Call in. Let us know your thoughts. We want you to hit us up on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever you think is appropriate. We want you there. So make sure you're part of the show. It is better when you are. Deshaun Watson going to start for the Cleveland Browns tomorrow on the road at Jacksonville. Do not know if Trevor Lawrence is going to go this time around. He did not in the Hall of Fame game, which was not a huge surprise. Do not know if he will participate this Friday. I would suspect so. I would suspect Peterson puts TL16 out there to take on his, one of his predecessors from Clemson in Deshaun Watson. Good idea, bad idea for the Browns to put Deshaun out there.
It's a bad idea. Is game 2 now game 3? I'm trying to remember how it was last year because this is fairly new, only having 3 preseason games. And there was one game where you usually had the starters out there for a quarter to a half. I don't know if that's game 3 now or game 2.
A lot of teams, I think, in the past, and I suspect the majority of you guys don't have extensive memories of NFL preseason games, right? There's not like a lot to it to want to pay attention to.
There was a standard for a while, and I think last year was the first year with only 3 preseason games, and I can't remember which was the dress-out game.
Yeah, but keep in mind, though, that if you get the Hall of Fame game, you get an extra preseason game. So the Jags and the Raiders will play 4 preseason games. So it makes sense that TL16 did not go, right? Because if you're an NFL coach, there's a few things you want out of the preseason game. Number one, you want to see your guys run your schemes against a different team, right? And in a lot of these cases, like for instance, this weekend, when Tampa and Miami get it on Saturday evening at 7:30, Miami and Tampa are running joint practice this week. They are practicing together in Tampa. It gives those guys 2 or 3 days in practice to go up against guys that they're not used to. Guys, you go up against a defensive lineman for 10, 11, 12 days of camp. You get to learn the tendencies, right? All right, if I go shift pro left and he's playing the inside nose spot, and he wants to cross me, his left hand is going to be, in front of his body. And so you learn the tells. You get a chance to go up against somebody you haven't gone up against in a handful of practices and then put the schemes fully together in these preseason games. But the second thing you're looking forward to is you're shaping your 53 now, right? You're shaping your roster at this point. This is the chance for guys that are hovering in those third and fourth string spots to step up, to step out, to make some noise, and to earn that last roster spot before you hit final cuts in a couple of weeks. So it really is as much about shaping the team and the roster as it is about seeing how the team and the roster run the schemes that the head coaches and the coordinators except New England put into play, right? But if you're Cleveland, so to finish that thought, it makes sense that TL wouldn't have dressed in game number 1, right? He's still got a full NFL preseason ahead of them. You have, if you're a Hall of Fame game coach, an extra game to let the backups get out there and try to show you why they should be on the roster. You took advantage of that if you're Jacksonville and Las Vegas last weekend. The rest of these games are where you're going to kind of get that combo. Usually, in week 1, you'll see like a half a quarter, maybe a quarter out of your starters, and then it's all back up, second, third, fourth quarter. Second stringers play the second quarter, and then all the guys trying to make the cut play the entire second half. In game number 3, or for every other team in game number 2, you're usually going to see your starters the majority of the first half, if not the whole first half. That is a spot where at the quarterback position, you might put your number 2 QB out there in the second quarter, but he runs with the starters in case your QB1 goes down. He's built up some chemistry with the starters, etc. And then usually in game 3, you don't see your starters, or you see them for maybe a series or 2 tops. If you're Cleveland, is trotting out Deshaun a good idea? I'm going to say no. I'm going to agree with Lonzo. It's not a good idea for a number of reasons. Number 1, until you know what Deshaun's suspension is going to look like. Right now it's 6 games. We know the NFL.
But the appeal is coming and could come down, as early as today.
As early as today. That's exactly right. We could learn today or tomorrow, because I don't think the Browns game starts at Jacksonville until, is it 7:30 tomorrow, I think? 7 o'clock. It could come out. Hell, it could come out during the preseason game. The conclusion to the appeal, where Deshaun's punishment gets extended, if it does. And I suspect it will. It's not a great idea for a handful of reasons. Number 1, all the other owners in the league are already mad at the Haslams and the Browns. Now, it's not for the reason you think. Well, it's not for the reason that some of you think. A lot of you think they're mad at the Browns and the Haslams just for signing Deshaun, right? You knew what was coming down the pipe. You knew how ugly it was going to get. It's a black eye on the league. You could have just left him off the radar, and you went for it. Now, that one's not egregious because there were other teams, the Falcons, the Saints, and others, that at least made the call. The reason the rest of the league owners, the ones with the power, the reason that the rest of the league are upset with the Browns is not that they signed Deshaun, it's how they signed Deshaun. It's a contract they gave him because they did not move the QB market. They completely obliterated the model and set up a new one. Every QB gunning for a new contract from this point forward is going to be gunning for guaranteed money in full. Deshaun Watson just got the most lucrative contract in NFL history, knowing there was a suspension coming down the pipe, and every dollar of it is guaranteed. Deshaun could never play a game for the Browns due to injury, and he's still getting $260, over $250 million in guaranteed cash to be there, right? So now every time that an elite level quarterback comes up for a free agency renegotiation, they're going to go, whoa. Deshaun, who was going to be suspended, or in the future was suspended for X to Y number of games, got $250 million guaranteed. And that's after missing a full year of football in H-Town. So I want a quarter bill guaranteed. And they're going to get it. Because now other owners know if you want a guy, that's what you have to put on the table, because if you don't, somebody else will. On top of that, you've got the NFL fans who are genuinely bothered by the way that this was handled by the league. Allowing the trade, allowing Deshaun to practice, allowing Deshaun to dress. The Browns are effectively waving a big metaphorical flag with an orange middle finger directed to those fans when Deshaun takes to the field tomorrow evening. Even if it is just a preseason game.
Is that game at home? Or is it?
No, it's in Jacksonville.
Okay, all right.
He's going to be, well, I was going to say he's going to be booed relentlessly, but there's only going to be like 78 Jags fans there, so probably not.
If depending on intake of alcohol, they might be really loud. It's possible.
No.
No? Okay.
78 people can only be so loud. It is Jacksonville. You can't get Jags fans to come out to a regular season game. When I lived in Jacksonville, I went to a Saints at Jags game that I got tickets to for like $30. And there were as many Saints fans as there were Jags fans.
All right. I get that you want to see how rusty Deshaun is since he hasn't played in a year. I get that you want to do that, but I think you should be more worried about the guys you do have and getting them out there and get them some playing time, because you know at least the first 6 games he's not going to be out there.
But I think the reason why this tells me that the Cleveland Browns expect to have Deshaun Watson available at some point this year, and maybe while they're still in playoff contention, right?
And by the way, they're losing wide receivers right and left, including Jakeem Grant, who suffered an Achilles injury yesterday.
Saw that.
So, I mean.
So I think this is, for that reason and others, this is the Browns saying we expect one of two things. Either number one, the NFL has made the appeal, but they believe that Deshaun Watson's suspension of 6 games will be upheld. They believe he may just be at 6, which means they're going to get him for 11 other games. So let's get him some reps, right? Because he didn't play. If he played last year, I don't know that they'd be as concerned. But in not playing last year, let's get him some preseason reps this week. Let's get him some preseason reps. If the appeal is not handed down by next week, get him some reps next week. So that in week 7, which is, I think, against Baltimore, when he is available and we do plug him into the QB1 spot, he's not coming out ice cold covered in rust. He's at least played a little bit of full speed football, right? I think that's the decision from the Browns. But this to me is more about angering the people in the NFL have power. The fans don't matter. It sucks to be told you don't matter, but it happens to everybody in real life. And as I have told you guys in the past, you don't matter. Until and unless it's not just about, well, I'm not going to buy tickets and I'm not going to go to games and I'm not going to buy merch. You have to convince millions of other NFL fans to be the same. You have to convince millions of other NFL fans to not buy, to not attend, to not watch, right? Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Because there are 31 other fan bases that are going to go, yes, screw the Browns, but it's not my team. It's not my team that did that. And since it's not my team that did that, I'm going to go ahead and keep watching. Because I don't care, right? It's not my team. So unless you're going to convince millions of other fans to not watch, to not attend, to not chime in, none of this matters. So the Browns don't care about the fans. What's interesting is the Browns are waving that flag with the middle finger painted on it at the rest of the owners who are upset with the Haslams, who are upset with the Browns. They are waving that flag with the middle finger painted on it at Roger Goodell himself, right? We don't believe that you have the rocks to make this move. We don't believe that you have the stones to go through with the punishment that you have said you want of the full year. We don't think you have it in you. Not just because you won't let us have the guy put him on the field. but because you know that if you increase the suspension, if you bump the suspension up to 10, 14, 17, a full season, you are going to stare down a lawsuit. And it's not about Deshaun anymore. That lawsuit is now about the NFL Players Association. That lawsuit is now going toe-to-toe with the NFLPA and understanding that your relationship with the NFLPA will dictate how the next round of collective bargaining goes down in the future. And if you tick off the NFLPA enough, then down the line when it's time to collectively bargain, they're going to push harder. They're going to want more, they're going to demand more, they're going to work you over more. And the Browns are basically saying to Goodell, we think that with the NFLPA effectively doing our bidding, right? It's not like the NFL is coming out going, we support the Browns. It's that the NFLPA is coming out going, we don't think that the Browns should have unlimited power, right? We don't think the NFL. We don't think the NFL should have unlimited power. We don't think the NFL should be allowed to just go, yeah, you're out for a year and go against precedent that has been set in the past, because it'll be bad for the players down the line if Roger Goodell gets to wield a Mjolnir character banhammer and just throw guys out whenever the hell he feels like it. And the Browns are going, while they are not allied directly with us, the Cleveland Browns, while they are not allied directly with us, they are allied with us as an alliance of convenience. We will take advantage. We will take advantage of the NFLPA being on our side, even if they're not really on our side. Bleep you, Roger Goodell, you won't do it because you don't have the stones to go up against the NFLPA. Texter wrote in just a minute ago and said, fan, Cleveland is foolishly daring Roger to drop the hammer by announcing Deshaun is playing. Bingo. They really are. And they're daring him not to drop the hammer, but to go toe-to-toe with the NFLPA in court. That's what they're daring him to do with this move.
So you think they're just doing this to get the thing out of the way, so they'll know what's going to happen. You just go ahead and put him out there thinking that because the publicity it's going to get, that they're going to go ahead and fast-track whatever decision they're going to make about the appeal.
I don't know if it is to... I think it is to put the pressure on Goodell to make his move, right? I think it puts pressure on Roger Goodell to make the move now. Don't drag this out another 2 or 3 weeks, because we're going to keep trotting him out there, and we're going to keep putting this, and the fact that you have been, not that he's been indecisive, but the public eye can appear that he is being indecisive, yeah? In the public eye, it may look like he is being indecisive. So they're basically putting it on Goodell to go, A, make your move, right? Make your move. Take your shot. Give it your best, and let's see what happens. And when you make the decision, hopefully sooner rather than later, we are ready for you to go up against the PA, because here's the thing. If the PA wins the lawsuit that they will bring against Roger Goodell regarding the suspension of Deshaun, if the NFLPA finds a way to win that lawsuit against Roger Goodell in the NFL, there's a chance the whole suspension goes away. Now Deshaun's available in week 1. And if you're the Browns, that's what you want, right? You have already signed the deal. Now you want him available. The PR doesn't matter anymore. You've already made the move. If Roger Goodell goes up in a lawsuit, there is a chance that the suspension itself could be stayed. I don't know what the odds are, right? Like, I don't know if it's a 1 or 10 or 20% chance.
The look on the NFL, if that were to happen, that would be bad. That'd be really bad.
And that's what the Browns are banking on, right? Because if, and I
so honestly, they're putting themselves above the entire league.
I mean, every team's going to do that. But I think it's more the Browns have a heavyweight fighter in their corner in the NFLPA. The NFLPA doesn't necessarily support the Cleveland Browns. The NFL is protecting all the players in the future that face suspension from the league, right? Because if the NFL writes up an unprecedented suspension here, then the take would be, okay, what about the next time a guy gets a DUI? Roger could just ban him for the whole year, which has never been done before, but neither has a full year suspension like Deshaun is up against right now. The NFLPA is not fighting for Deshaun. You know what I compare this to? And it's a bit dramatic, and it's gonna make some of you uncomfortable. But the NFLPA is in the role of the Church of Satan right now. Hold with me here. All right? Hold with me here.
And then the show took a weird turn.
It did, but my point is going to come clear to you in just a moment. Stick with me here. We see constantly, Lonzo doing his best Constantine impersonation across, which, by the way, a Keanu Reeves movie that deserves more credit than it gets.
Completely.
Fantastic movie. They are playing the role of the Church of Satan here. 99% of the people in the Church of Satan don't believe in Satan. Like, as in, they don't believe in him as an entity. They don't believe in that concept as an entity. What they are doing here is every time that there is what they consider a violation of the separation between church and state, the Establishment Clause, when they step in and file a lawsuit, the point that they're making is if you do this for this one religion, you have to do it for every religion, including ours, in which our religion is the worst thing to you. That actually believe in it. The NFLPA does not actually support Deshaun Watson. But the reason that the COS does what they do is to protect all the people who are not of the religion that they are up against. Right? If you are not a Christian in this country, they are standing for you. They're just using the most dramatic opposition they can come up with as an illustration for what will happen. To tell the people, all right, if you're trying to do this thing that we believe violates the Establishment Clause, right, then you have to do it for every religion, including this one. It's more, it's not a point. It's not an actual belief. It's a point. The NFLPA does not believe in Deshaun Watson. They're not supporting Deshaun Watson. What they are doing is saying, if you do this punishment to Deshaun, we believe you'll have the power to do it to just whoever the hell you want down the line, and we got to protect all those players too, even if we don't like them. And the Browns are going, the NFLPA is not fighting for us. They're not fighting for Cleveland. But they just happen to be fighting the same fight that we're fighting, if not for an entirely different reason than we're fighting it. So we're going to use them as a tool. And by putting Deshaun on the field and putting the heat to Goodell's fire and using the NFLPA as a weapon that does not want to be wielded by us, but they are fighting the same fight, so they will be, we can pressure Roger Goodell here. That's why Deshaun Watson's playing tomorrow. Texas says Deshaun's contract only pays him $1 million for this year for this reason. That's exactly right. But if you're the Browns and Deshaun's available, and you get to play him for $1 million this year, that's a win-win for Cleveland. Let's take a break. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate
Concert.
Hey! Hey, you. Hey, you. Hey, you. All right, let's see here. I mean, I think it's Baker and McCaffrey, right? Shake and bake. It's got to be Baker and McCaffrey. I don't know who else you would deem with the nickname Shake in that case. Well, does DJ or Robbie get
A
real
receiver,
good?
maybe. Yeah. CMC's already got a nickname.
Hey, lady. Good to see you. Tell Red I said hello. I missed the Harry Cheese game. That was bad, Lonzo.
It was.
That was bad. Trey says, excited for Rob becoming the voice of Burns. Most of my family went to Burns. That's awesome, Trey. I hope I do him proud, man. I'm very, very excited about it. In fact, I thought you were going to get the role. On Monday, I will be out at Burns. Actually, Monday and Tuesday, I'll be out at Burns practice, getting eyes on the team for the first time this season. I'm really, really excited about that. Oh, no. That one stings a little bit.
It's not my day today.
Struggling today, though. Do you give any love for Baltimore, who is on a 20 preseason game winning streak?
No.
Preseason games are irrelevant, right? Like, who cares?
When you say they're fixing the TV, you mean all the TVs?
Yeah.
Because this one just went
Yeah.
bye-bye.
I just went in there, and the lights in our office were on, so I assume that means they were in there tooling with it. I think Chris said they have to pull every box.
QC Kinetics in the next break. Hey, I'm having a bad day, but I just gotta say, my percentage is pretty high.
Overall, it is. And
And-
Lonzo's developed this little around the corner kind of fade jumper that he's been very good at.
I'm working on if I could throw daggers at someone while running. Strafing. That's what I'm doing. Strafing.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob and Lonzo with you, as we are every morning, Monday through Friday from 9 to noon. Tell your friends, we got a brand to grow, baby. Continuing to getting bigger and better every single day. That's the goal, man. That's the goal. All right, a couple more stories we've not gotten a chance to talk about just yet. I got a really dumb story out of the NFL, but it illustrates a point that kind of dovetails back with the point that I was making moments ago regarding the Deshaun Watson thing. When I told you guys that as NFL fans, we don't matter. We don't matter. And the reason that we don't matter, is because we don't stop spending our money on the National Football League. That's real simple, right? We can all come out. I go back to the Kaepernick thing, remember? Colin Kaepernick started taking a knee during the anthem. Other players started taking a knee during the anthem. And when they did that, the chorus was, that's it. I'm done with this league. I'm never watching again. Except for very few of you actually followed through with that threat, right? Very few of you actually followed through. The NFL didn't lose money. So they were fine with it, right? It put them in the spotlight, and they didn't lose money. You don't matter until you and the millions of people you successfully convinced to stop spending money and watching the league do that, which hasn't happened. There was a story that came out. Kyle Shanahan is upset because the National Football League has told him that the hats that he has been wearing for the last couple of years are no longer allowed on the sideline. Now, if you've watched any San Francisco 49ers games over the past couple of years, you have recognized that Kyle Shanahan's hats look like he made them on like one of those Vistaprint style sites, you know, where you go in and you design your own hat and they print it out and send it to you. Shanahan's hat over the last couple of years has been a plain ball cap with a small little monochromatic, one color San Francisco. I don't even know how to describe it, Lonzo, except to say it's a stamp. It's about an inch by an inch. It's a block square. It is black with the outline of the San Francisco SF logo in the middle of it. And it's about that big on the entire front of this big baseball cap, right? Well, the National Football League has told Kyle Shanahan that his hat is no longer allowed on the sideline.
You know what? It looks like a preppy hat. It looks like a yacht club hat.
That is my Titleist golfer hat.
Yeah, but that's got stuff all over it.
It does.
So
it does.
I mean,
in speaking with KNBR 680's Murph and Mac on Wednesday, Shanahan was asked if he plans on wearing the famous hat after he said that he retired it after a disappointing 2020 season, but it showed up again last year. Shanahan, speaking about the NFL and their rules, said, quote, "I have such a beef with them right now. It's a tough issue going on. They won't let me pick out my own hat. They won't let me wear any one that's from a previous year. So I can't wear an older one. I've got to wear the new ones they give us this year. Unfortunately, there's none I like wearing. Hopefully we can figure it out or wait until salute to service. It's just deals. I don't want to go too hard and get fined or anything, but trust me, I'm upset about it." Now, the reason that the Shanahan hat has been banned from the sideline is because Kyle Shanahan created the design for the hat by himself. I'm assuming using Microsoft Paint to do so. And he did so with...
Why don't you give him some credit? Maybe he has a more higher class type thing. Maybe he actually is hired an artist to do it. He can afford that.
If he hired an artist to create this hat, he wasted his money. He literally could have gone down to the FedEx store with a San Francisco logo, said, "I want to give you $3 to turn this into a stamp," and then just stamped a $1.99 gas station trucker hat with the logo, and it's the same hat.
Art is subjective, sir.
You know what this is? This is like when people go and they buy really ridiculously expensive art, and it's like a white canvas with one black line painted down the middle of it, and they buy it for $2.5 million. It speaks to me. No, it doesn't, jackass. It's a black line on white paper. My 5-year-old nephew has more talent than that. Oh, the line's really straight, though.
I'm a little surprised with your affinity for all things the arts that you are so not open-minded when it comes to art.
Listen. You can consider whatever you want to consider art. There's a lot of art. Most modern poetry sucks to me. But if you're a poetry guy, I'm not mad at you. Have at it. I'm glad that you can express yourself through language that way. Good on you, mate. I'm here for you. But this is it's a freaking stamp. Anyway, that being said, if that's what Shanahan wants to wear, I don't care about it. Have at it, man. Have at it. Well, the problem is that Shanahan was created by Shanahan alongside New Era, who's the official apparel sponsor of the NFL, Nike. So he can't wear it. He's really upset about it. Now, here's why I bring this up. It is not because I care a great deal about Kyle Shanahan's hat. I don't care. It's the same as when remember when Jack Del Rio was in Jacksonville? Jack Del Rio came out on the sidelines in a suit to coach games, right? Like a full-on 3-piece business meeting suit. And the NFL said, you can't do that.
So you're against conformity. You're against uniform. You're pro-anarchy.
Sure. I've already gotten 3 texts about being in league with Satan today because of the last segment.
Well, you did bring up the Church of Satan. I'd let that go because, the people who are in the Church of Satan is like, no, we don't really believe in Satan.
They don't.
Because that's exactly what someone who did believe in Satan would say.
Literally damned if you do and damned if you don't, eh?
Absolutely.
So anyway, here's the point that I'm driving at with this. It's not that I care about Kyle Shanahan's hat. I really don't. All right? I don't care if coaches want to wear a suit with a tie. I don't care if they want to wear a bolo. I don't care if they want to wear a cowboy hat. I don't care if they want to wear their skivvies. I don't care.
Admittedly, if we had a uniform here, you and I would be in trouble all the time because we would find ways to change the uniform to the point to see if it would be noticed.
We do, right? We have our station polos. And when we go on remotes, we're required to wear the station polo.
And I just got to say, I don't like them. But,
right. But you wear them anyway, don't you?
Because it points out it's cold in the room.
So we're required to wear the station polo. But then Rob Brown went, and what did he do? He got a pair of blue shorts to match the white one and a Atlanta Braves hat with the exact color scheme. So when I go out, I can still rock my flat bill baseball cap or my blue or white thick wire glasses and the matching golf shorts and matching shoes so that I still got my own twist on it, right? I don't care what the coaches wear. The point that I'm making is this. The reason that Kyle Shanahan has to not wear the Shanahan hat that has become his icon over the last couple of years is because the NFL goes, well, if Shanahan's not wearing the Nike hat, fans are less likely to buy the Nike hat. We need that billboard. We need Shanahan to be a walking billboard. The NFL does not give a damn about anything except the money. And it doesn't matter whether it is a quarterback with 23 sexual assault lawsuits or a stupid hat on the sideline. The only thing that matters is profit, bottom line. That's it. That's all that matters. And until NFL fans recognize that and are willing to step out en masse and stop giving them that money, stop complaining. If you are watching NFL football on Sunday, I don't need to hear you complain about the behavior of the league. Not because I don't also have a problem with it. Frequently I do. But because it doesn't matter. We don't matter because we keep giving them money. And they're willing to come after the Shanahan hat in order to get it. That's how petty they'll get over the money. All right? Texas said, Rob, how dare you? I threw paint on a canvas and my new art is worth $1 million. I mean, again, I've seen that one. Literally, an artist will put a paintbrush in paint, throw it at the canvas, and then sell it for $3.5 million. It expresses my rage and inner turmoil. Shut up, hippie. No, it doesn't. It expresses that you know how to flick paint at paper and not a damn thing else. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
QC.
Is that a new toy for us?
It is. It is.
Unfortunately, it's not going to get installed right now. So
Why not, Chris? You tease?
You have something better to do?
right back out of here.
Yeah, no. Let's leave Chris alone. Thanks, Chris. Happy Christmas.
I dare you to take it out of here.
Giant.
He struggled to carry the thing in. He ain't picking it back up.
That is a 65-inch 4K TV.
He's lost so much weight he can barely move that.
You know what
thing.
this means we're doing now? I'm putting us a hanging shelf right there, and I'll bring in my extra consoles. That's a 65-inch 4K TV. Our stream thing can be real on this TV.
Okay. You know, I do have an extra Xbox One. I just haven't brought it in yet because of laziness.
Well,
I mean, it's really been.
Well.
I'm not sure I want Diesel playing my Xbox.
Can the stream see the hat? Yes, I will find the Shanna hat. Let's see, where is it? Hold, please.
And why would you install a hanging shelf when we have engineering to do that for? Understand the hierarchy here.
All right, here's the...
D. Rob Brown would like a shelf installed, please.
I want to hang a floating shelf specifically. Here is the hat, America. That's the Shanna hat, all right? That's it.
Why can you buy it?
$35.
No. Why can you buy it if he ain't allowed to wear it?
Because it's a new era hat.
Oh, okay.
Not a Nike hat. If he made this hat, I promise you, if he made this hat with Nike, well, no, that's not actually true. Because the NFL wants you buying the official NFL line of stuff, and this would not be in that mix. Shanahan would get a cut of the profits because it's his design. It's a stamp. Yes, I would just like to point out Keegan's response is the correct response.
Why? Because he agrees with you?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm correct.
All right.
Which makes his response correct. That's it. That's that. $35 for that.
You know, the reason why they don't like it, other than it not being Nike, is because it's too small. Because the logo's too small.
It's a dumb hat.
They want it being gaudy and saying, "Hey, look at this." You know, I don't think it looks that bad. Actually,
My favorite Saints hat, Lonzo, is jet black, which is the gold fleur-de-lis on it.
but it's a big fleur-de-lis.
But it is a big fleur-de-lis.
Yeah.
But it's not like over. It's like they had one back in the day where the fleur-de-lis was like diagonal. And it went down onto, like, the bottom point was down on the bill. So it, like, started here.
That sounds kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, except for I'm 6'3", so you could only see the top part of the hat for me. If I was 5'2", that hat would be amazing.
Except for, like, maybe if you were on, the stream, like, 5 days a week.
Sat like this doing the show.
You do sometimes.
Texter said, as one of like 20 Niners fans in the area, I'd rather wear the Shanna hat than the other crap the NFL puts out. And Alonzo and I were talking about that just a minute ago. In fact, if you're not on the stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate or by searching and subscribing to the Rob Brown Show and watching the YouTube stream, I actually have the hat up on the screen right now. I'll leave it there for another minute or two so you can go see it if you're listening but not watching yet. Go to the Facebook page at The Fan Upstate or search and subscribe to the Rob Brown Show on YouTube.
There's a trucker hat. That would fit my large noggin. I like it.
Here's the thing. I actually like that style of hat.
Turrets.
Southern Turrets. I actually like the style. It's a snapback trucker hat with a flat bill. I actually like the style of hat. In fact, I own a number of hats in that style. In fact, the Fan Upstate hats we just had made, the gray ones, are that style.
Yeah, but they're not big like that. I mean, I've got one trucker hat that was given to me. It was like on my desk like 10 years ago. But it actually has room. I don't have to take it all the way to the last snap.
Right.
It's that big. I like hats like that.
Well, we just have big heads.
Well, there's that. Yeah, which is why I appreciate that hat. Look at that.
It's a big hat. And with a lot of the flat bills, even the one I have on right now, with the flat bill, because of the flat bill, to have it go around, you have to make the front of the hat bigger. You got to put more fabric or whatever to it, material to it, so it makes the hat look bigger. I like the style of hat. It's just a dumb logo on it, right? But the point is, the NFL got mad about this hat. Why? Because they can't sell Nike hats to 49ers fans if Shanahan's not the one rocking them on the sideline, right? Which I think is dumb. when I put it up on the screen, Keegan, P1 Keegan responded with LOLLLLLLLL, all caps.
That's a lot of L's.
Steven Herrera responded with, that hat is garbage. And then Keegan said, take it down. We don't want to see it anymore. It's bad. Like I said, the point that I'm making ultimately is that the NFL does not care, because if Kyle's not helping them make money, he's not doing his job. All right. Real quick, want to throw this one in there before we take a break. We talked about the Durantula yesterday, Kevin Durant, and the fact that he allegedly told the Nets, either Sean Marks, the GM, and Steve Nash, the head coach, go, or I go with your pick. And Josiah, the owner of the Nets, was like, we have the coaches back here. We have the regimes back here. We think they're doing a good job. I don't have a problem with that. I told you I'd cut them before I cut Durant, because Durant's just that good. There's only one Kevin Durant right now, right? But if you decide to go Nash and Marks, I understand. They built a pretty good franchise that was then just wrecked by Kyrie and KD's insanity on the team. Well, reports are now that Kevin Durant has a new preferred destination, and it is the Boston Celtics. He wants to go to Beantown. Wants to stay in the East and go to Beantown. Now, what's interesting about that is that the Nets, according to reports, went ahead and made the call to Boston. Hey, we are willing to talk. Here's what we want in return. They wanted, Zoe, between 2 to 4 first-round NBA draft picks and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, right? The Celtics with KD would have had their own big three of Brown, Tatum, and KD. The assumption was that either Brown or Tatum, likely Brown, was going to be sent to Brooklyn in return for KD, along with a haul of picks. But the Nets said, we want all those picks and both of those guys, which would effectively reset the roster for Boston, which would effectively make it almost pointless to bring in Kevin Durant, because not only would you have to get KD, but you'd have to go big signing into luxury cap mode to get another star to play with him, and you don't have any picks to build around those two guys for the foreseeable future, which makes that trade effectively worthless, right? The Nets are trying to tank this. They are going to try to salvage this situation with KD and Steve Nash. I don't know if it's going to work, but I do find it interesting. In an age where it definitely feels like the NBA players have the majority of the power in situations like this, that the Nets have decided to butt heads with Kevin Durant and see if they can't come out on the right side of it. I don't hate the strategy. I think it's a low percentage chance they do, but we'll see. Coming up next, we talked about that Big Ten TV deal. I told you it was good for Notre Dame. You know who agrees with me? Notre Dame's AD. Tell you what Jack Swarbrick said about it and how it impacts the ACC when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Look at the story I just sent you on
Twitter?
Twitter. Yes.
What?
That's where we get. That's where we go when we go to the beach.
That's
too.
why it's familiar.
Yeah.
A woman was impaled Wednesday in Gardens. You ready for the news announcer voice? This is my news anchor voice.
I can't wait.
A woman was impaled Wednesday in Garden City by a beach umbrella in what appeared to be a freak accident. According to the Horry County coroner, Tammy Peral, 63 of Horry County, was struck and impaled by a beach umbrella that was carried by the wind around 12:40 p.m. Suffering from chest trauma, she was taken to Waccamaw ER, where she succumbed to her injuries at 1:33 p.m. It is not unheard of for beach umbrellas to cause serious injuries or death. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission estimates there were roughly 2,800 unconfirmed beach umbrella-related injuries between 2010 and 2018.
All right.
Impaled by a runaway beach umbrella. What a way to go. I mean, I guess at least you were at the beach and that, like, your last hurrah was a bit. But
yeah,
dude,
but on those kind of winds, why were you out on the beach? I mean,
I go out to the beach.
I mean, if you're surfing, maybe I get it because that's gonna. But
I mean, at the end of the day, it really, as a longtime beach veteran, you got to think an umbrella is literally a parachute, right? It does not
Yeah.
take much wind to have a beach. I've seen beach
It's-
umbrellas go all the time.
It's also a lawn dart or a beach
Yeah.
dart in this case.
And with a beach umbrella, because you've got to stick it down into the ground.
We
most
don't
of
even
them
know
have a
what
stake.
size of beach umbrella. It could have been something that someone brought with them.
It probably was. I'm making assumptions here. But like if you go down to the beach in Destin, people bring umbrellas on so that would cover this whole desk. And there's a spike on the end.
Right.
Right? So it does not take more than 4, 5, 6 mile an hour winds to unearth a breech umbrella, and then it turns into a device made for catching the wind. Those things will get going faster than the wind is blowing them, and they got a big spike on the end. I'm actually shocked this is the first time I've heard of this story or a story like it in my past.
By the way, it's Horry County.
Horry? Okay.
Yes.
Robert Horry County. That's, oh God, what a way to go. I mean, if I got to pick my way out, being full of rum on a beach would definitely be towards the top of my selections.
It caught
but
my
not
eye.
like
Yeah,
that.
it caught my eye because it just popped up on my Twitter feed because it had Garden City on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, you know.
Now, when you go to Garden City for vacation next year, are you going to be like on the lookout for wayward umbrellas moving forward?
I'm always on the lookout for sharks and all kinds of things when the wind comes up. Yes. Imagine being. I mean, it's horrible. But being a lifeguard. I mean, what do you do?
Call the ambulance.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like.
Yeah, that's rough.
And if you got to believe there were probably other people on the beach and saw it happen.
Yeah, 100%.
That would be rough. Last time we were there, we saw a wedding on the beach. We saw them set the whole thing up, saw the DJ bring everything out. It was fun to see how well they had their stuff down. I can't imagine sitting on the balcony of the hotel, looking down and just watching an umbrella go up in the air and impale somebody. Now I'm going to have to look it up and see how many people have died from umbrella impalement on beaches.
I may have died. I mean, it did say there were 2,800 over 8 years. Isn't that what that number was?
I didn't read the entire article.
Let me pull it back up. I read it in my cool news director voice. U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission estimates there were roughly 2,800 unconfirmed beach umbrella-related injuries between 2000 and 2018.
That's injuries, though. It's not deaths.
Right. But you got to imagine, of 2,800, one or two of those took like a fragile old guy out, right? That is 350 beach umbrella-related injuries per year.
How many of those are just
If we
people who
said-
don't know how to set it up and they...
If we said that even 1% of those resulted in a death, that is 3.5 beach umbrella-related deaths every year. That's got to be a bigger threat at the beach than sharks, right?
Probably, yeah.
It's got to be close. The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is great to have you. As always, I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, is across the desk from me. quick non-sports thing that Lonzo brought up during the break. I can't not talk about it, Lonzo.
No, listen, it's just so unusual that, wow.
I've never heard of it before, but apparently it happens. And it is a, for the record, I'm not saying this to make fun of it. I'm saying this out of shock. It is a tragic story. A woman was impaled yesterday in Garden City by a beach umbrella and what appeared to be a freak accident, according to FoxCarolina.com. According to the Horry County coroner, Tammy Peralt, 63 years old of Horry County, was struck and impaled by a beach umbrella that was carried by the wind around 12:40 p.m. She had chest trauma. She was taken to the Waccamaw ER, where she succumbed to her injuries at 1:33 p.m. In the article, Fox News Carolina reports that the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission estimates there were roughly 2,800 unconfirmed beach umbrella-related injuries between 2010 and 2018. Now, during that break, Lonzo and I were talking about this. We were talking about it on the live stream. And I was blown away by this story. Now, I told Zoe, it didn't really, it shocked me that somebody died. But it doesn't shock me this happened. Beach umbrellas are parachutes, right? I mean, they're parachutes. It does not take much wind to catch a beach umbrella and send it careening down the beach. I've seen it happen. What I've never seen it do is go full medieval warfare on beachgoers and stab them through the chest and kill them. That's insane. But then we read that stat, 2,800 unconfirmed beach umbrella-related injuries between 2010 and 2018. That means that on average, 350 people per year are injured by runaway beach umbrellas while visiting the sand and the surf. And if we say that even 1% of those resulted in a fatality. Now, I know that, again, at least I haven't heard of many people getting javelined by a runaway beach umbrella before. But if we assume that even 1% of those injuries result in a fatality, that is 3.5 deaths per year by runaway beach umbrellas. Then I got curious and I looked it up. Worldwide, Lonzo. This includes the Australian Gold Coast. This includes the beaches of New England where great whites are known. Worldwide, sharks kill 5 people per year, Lonzo. Now, your immediate reaction, most of your immediate reaction was, okay, sharks are the bigger concern than runaway beach umbrellas. But no, because remember, that is shark attacks globally. Average 5 shark attack fatalities per year. The runaway beach umbrella fatality rate, if it's accurate, and I acknowledge that it's not, but if 1% of beach umbrella related injuries result in a fatality, that is 3.5 deaths per year just in the United States. That does not include the Australian Gold Coast. That does not include the beaches of Rio de Janeiro. That does not include the beaches of Normandy, France. The beaches surrounding all of England on the 3 days a year you get good weather there, right? If we extrapolated that globally and assume that every country has, let's even say per capita, the same number of beach umbrella related deaths, Lonzo, you are more likely to be killed by a runaway beach umbrella than a shark when you go to the beach. That's insane. That's nuts. I don't have any further takeaway than what?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add here other than, the wind is scary and dangerous. And, just be wary when you go to the beach of flying umbrellas, I suppose.
I grew up on a beach. For the better part of 32 years, 34 years, I was at the beach dozens of times every year. It was a 5-minute drive from my front porch to the most beautiful beaches in the United States of America, people. I went to the beach for years. Never saw anything like this. Now, I've seen plenty of umbrellas go flying down the beach. In fact, one of the things that I've seen in the recent past, though, is now they make umbrellas, and instead of putting a sharp spike at the end, right? Because if you're digging a beach umbrella sand, it's got to have a spike to get through that sand, because usually the top level of sand is really loose and coarse, but the bottom levels of sand, they're compacted. So you got to have a spike. There's a company that took the spike and they made it separate from the umbrella, right? So you drive the spike down, the spike is hollow, you hammer the spike down, then you take the umbrella, which now has a rounded edge on it, and you stick that into the spike, and it holds the umbrella down.
Do you clamp it somehow when you put it in there?
No, but you push the spike down a couple of feet.
Okay. All right.
So the umbrella can still come out of the spike, but it's so deep down. It's like driving. You've driven a post. You live on a compound. You got to put like a third of the height of the post underground so that it can't get dislodged.
I have
Same
driven
concept.
many a post.
Yeah. So it's the same concept. And then if the umbrella comes out of the spike that's in the stand, now the end of the umbrella is not a sharp, pointy javelin. It's at least a rounded, you got a chance, right? But if you would have asked me if sharks are less or more dangerous than runaway beach umbrellas, I would have been wrong in my answer, in my assumption. That's nuts, man. That's nuts. All right, I only put one piece of audio in the folder, though. I'm going to grab it if you don't mind. It's clip number 2, even though there's only one of them. I'm bad at numbers. Anyway, clip number 2.
See, he's saying that, but he just does that to mess with me. So I go, okay, where's number one? I don't, did I grab them all?
No, I just really am dumb. NBC Sports. Josh Hader's a San Diego Padre now. And JD Davis plays for the San Francisco Giants. JD Davis was at the dish for the Giants. The Giants right now are in the wild card race, right? And their divisional rivals are the San Diego Padres. These two teams are locked into a race right now as potential wildcard teams. The Giants, however, are 7.5 games back of the Padres. In a game betwixt the Padres and the Giants, a win here would effectively be a full 1-game catch, right? Full 1 game. Would have brought them within 6.5, which is a reasonable number. JD Davis is at the dish for the Giants. San Diego Padres closer Josh Hader, who just came over from Milwaukee, is on the bump. Austin Wynns drew a walk, brought home a run. JD Davis stepped in and had a 4-pitch at bat. He was called out. But I want you to listen to the play-by-play and color commenter from NBC Sports San Francisco who were calling this game. I missed their names, and I apologize for that. The only name that I know in this story is Jeremy Riggs. I'll play this clip, and I'll let you guess who Jeremy Riggs is. Here's the call.
Still nobody out. There's a strike. Wow, got the very friendly call there. 1-1.
I mean, I want it if I'm pitching, but he hasn't commanded the zone, so that's a surprise that they call that right there.
Just strike one, 1-1. That is a strike. That's finally a slider in there. 1-2. So now J.D. Davis has to go real deep into battle mode.
Got to win the fight. Find a way to get in there. Win this fight.
1-2.
Oh, my goodness. Can't have that with that situation.
Good grief. Come on.
That's just a misfire. Can't have it.
Come on.
Can't have it.
Not to the target. Not close to being a strike.
Want to guess who Jeremy Riggs is?
The umpire.
Ding, ding, ding. Now, I am a play-by-play announcer. In the past, I've done many different teams. Next Friday, I start my new role as a play-by-play guy for Burns High School. Very excited about that. And when you're a home team play-by-play guy, you're allowed to be a little bit biased, right? You're jacked. You're jacked for the home team. You're a home team stan, as the kids say. And it is okay. We talked to Anish Shroff, the new voice of the Carolina Panthers. 2 Saturdays ago at a Panthers camp. We had Anish Shroff on. And in talking to Anish, we asked him, you go from a guy who was broadcast nationally on ESPN calling games where you had to be unbiased to a guy who is in the Panthers camp. What's the big difference? And he's like, it's interesting that you focus all your attention on the one team. Like, you'll talk about how the other team impacts your team, but you're focused on the other team. But to hear those two cats go off like that, because that call, both of those strike calls, J.D. Davis watched 3 strikes. One of them was in the zone. The other 2 were evidently out of the zone. I've told you guys this before. When you watch a baseball broadcast and you're watching the angle of the pitches from behind the pitcher, that camera is out in left center field. It is not directly behind the pitcher, obviously, because if you put it right behind the pitcher, it would be skewed. The pitcher would block the plate. You got to skew it a little bit, which gives you at home a skewed perspective of whether or not the ball caught the black part of the plate. But the K zone is pretty accurate, like 98% accurate, which is more accurate than some of these umpires, yeah? The K zone showed not 1, but 2 of those 3 strikes. 2 of them were clearly and entirely outside of the zone, to the point that both announcers were going, "Oh, that's bad." And it was. It was clearly, evidently, and obviously bad. I mean, like, real bad. And yet, here we are, still doing the same thing. That was the top of the 9th. The Giants had 0 outs. They were down 3. They had 1 on. The tying run was on deck in a game that may very well play into a wild card playoff spot for one of these 2 teams out of the NL West. And those 2 calls had a massive impact on the game. Strikes 1 and 3. Strike 2 was a strike. It was clearly over the dish. Strike 3 was a full 4 or 5 inches off the plate. Strike 1 was a full 2 to 3 inches on the inside. And yet here we are doing the same thing again. Oh, what are you going to do? I don't know. Replace that with the K-zone. That'll tell you if it's a strike or not. That's fine. Hit me with the T music. I'm fine with it. But if Terminator can get the job done accurately, especially BT Dubs, I didn't have money on this game. I didn't make any bets this week because I was off of Bet for the Cycle last week, my nationally syndicated baseball gambling show, which airs Saturdays from 1 to 5 on the BetQL network and on fine Odyssey stations everywhere. I didn't have any money on this game. But if I did, I would have had Giants as the dogs on the run line, meaning I just needed them to be within 1 run to hit. J.D. Davis, who has been good this year, if J.D. Davis hits an extra bases hit, I am now 1 single away from winning that bet. Instead, J.D. got sat down, first out of the inning, got, I believe, another hit, and then it was called. Third out. Game over. G-men lose and outside of the run line. I lost the bet. More importantly, if it comes down to Padres-Giants, and there's a half-game difference in the wild card at the end of the year, and the G-men lose it, you can point back to that game and go, that's a bad call. It's a bad call. How is this that hard? I don't get it. Let's take a break. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. Next segment, Fight Club with the great one, your home for all things combat sports, MMA, boxing, professional wrestling, and more is next. Lonzo brings you Fight Club, and that's coming up in the next segment on The Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
Where's my...
So good in 4K.
Or we're going to look, well, anyway. I will be able to see what I do all the time a little more clearly, going, wow, why did I do that? That was stupid. And then I get to watch it again and go, yep, I'm right. That was stupid. One of the times where the squeaky wheel actually paid off. I think we know who the squeaky wheel is. Because we really didn't need one, but I'm not going to complain about it. Because if that's all it takes, there's some other things that we could get in here that, like a true Papa shot in the corner, which would just work perfectly instead of the Fisher-Price. Would you rather have a Papa shot or would you rather have a golf simulator?
A golf simulator.
I don't know if it would fit though. Pop Shop might
No.
fit.
So they make them now. The net would be the problem, obviously, but because you got to have distance between you and the net.
Yeah.
But they make golf simulators now that are built into like a 2 foot, 2 by 2 foot square of turf, right? And the thing that reads your swing are not cameras anymore. It's a camera, but it's a little camera that's built into a little strip on the ground next to where you put the golf ball. And when you swing through the ball...
So it's kind of like VR, how VR set up with, with a small camera.
So when you swing through the camera, or when you swing through the ball, the camera records in super slow motion the club head. It records the speed, it records the angle, it records where you hit the ball on the face of the club, etc. So it used to be that there was a camera pointed at the screen and it just registered the trajectory and speed of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But this one actually can see the spin of the golf ball. It can see the rotation of the ball. It can see the angle it leaves the club head, etc.
Oh, that's cool.
So you don't actually have to hit it into the screen for it to register, which is really dope. They make ones, though, that you can take to the range, like the actual outdoor range, and put it down on the range, and it will record on. It'll show you on your cell phone your club head speed, the angle at impact, all of that, so that you can make adjustments to it. It's expensive and awesome.
All right, I changed my mind because I know something to be more affordable than a Pop Shot or a golf simulator, and that would be a stand-up arcade cabinet.
They make mini ones.
Right.
Have you seen those?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
There was a guy I saw on the internet that made that bought one of the mini cabinets because his full-size screen is just built to a smaller cabinet, and then he built a stand to put it on. So he just made it a full-size cabinet. What game would you want on it though? If you could only pick one.
Any. I mean, just because it would be in the corner, it'd be kind of cool. Trey, really quick, yeah, I've watched Titans from the beginning. It's actually on HBO Max. If you watch it there, it's uncut and it's really good. And they're currently filming season 4. I think the plots from season to season don't always line up, but I love Nightwing, so there's that. I keep seeing the cabinets, and Lisa's like, well, why don't you get yourself one? One of the smaller ones is like, where would I put it? That's the thing. And yeah, I know I could bring it here and put it here, but
I encourage that decision.
you know what? You push that button, it just automatically fades. I don't know why I did that. I was just so excited to be in the Fight Club finally after a couple weeks. What I was going to say is we show up unlike Lacey Evans, and then then the thing faded. So I don't know if that was fate or Lacey somehow saying, "Don't you badmouth me, because I know where you are, and I'll come in." So you're welcome to the Fight Club. We didn't get to do it last week because Rob was out of the country. And the other guy just not into this kind of stuff. So speaking of Lacey Evans, got to point out last week, Friday Night SmackDown, great turnout. Not quite sold out, but pretty close to it. I got there and you looked up and it was a late arriving crowd. I was a little disappointed about the fact that they didn't have any matches before because, you show up a little bit earlier. The doors opened at 6:30 and there was no match. There was like one match before. Match? There was one match before.
There was one. Okay.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, just one match before, and I'm trying to remember who it was. It was Madcap Moss and somebody. But that was surprising because usually they have a couple that they film to put on, their Saturday show and stuff like that, and there was only one. But I got to say, overall, I enjoy SmackDown. I thought it was really, really good. The one thing about it is I'm jealous of the boss. Boss is not here this week. He's on vacation. Rob, this was the best seats he's ever had. He was in the middle, in the middle of the ring. He wasn't in the ring itself, but he's in the front row. The ring, he was seated directly in the middle. And again, had the invite to come down and take that extra seat and did not.
Keep not doing it.
Well, I got my family there with me and other people, and had T2 there for the very first time with his son. Never been to a wrestling event before. Never really watched wrestling. His son was getting into it, so I was talking to him, telling him about stuff. And I just didn't want to go down there, and I kind of regret it. I regret it every time it comes to town because I also feel like I'm being set up by the boss that I'm going to try to go down there and security's going to lead me away because I'm going to be like, no, he said I could come down there and, there would be an incident. So because our boss is evil and twisted like that, and he would take great pleasure in watching me being led away trying to get down there to the front. And I just, I just always believe that's the reason why he invites me down there.
Listen, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, whenever these shows come to town, and I've only got the chance to go to one of them since I moved here. We had Raw here a handful of weeks ago. I've only been to one WWE show here in Greenville so far because the two that were supposed to come here during the Rona, obviously, when they were in the Thunderdome, got locked down, so I didn't get to go. Ordinarily, the family Lonzo and I end up all sitting together. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you here, Zoe, if we go to a gig and the boss man goes, hey, Brown, Zoe never takes me up on these seats. Do you want to come down here and sit front row? I will wave to you on the hard cam, buddy.
No, that's fine. I'm not sure you ever get the offer because
was he hard cam side, by the way?
Because I'm me, and that's why I'm getting that offer. And there's a lot of love there. Yeah, he was hard cam side. He's still in the middle of the ring. That's the best seats I've ever seen him have. And
because at the last one, at the Raw we went to, he was kind of off,
he was on the corner
toward the ring post, over almost towards the timekeeper's area. But it actually worked out great because you got to have like this whole big interaction with KO. I think KO said something into his phone cam while they were down there.
Yeah, he did because he sent that to me, and he got that kind of stuff happening this time too. So
let me ask you one, since I timed my vacation perfectly to not be able to go. When Liv came out, I heard in rewatching the you tapped out chant, but Liv has been remarkably over since she beat Ronda for the title with the Money in the Bank cash in. How loud were those chants in person?
They were pretty loud, and they would happen every once in a while, and she would stand up and work the crowd because she was sitting at the announce table. She would stand up and do that, which makes you think that there's a heel turn coming, and I don't know why there would be because Ronda just turned heel. Yeah. So it doesn't make sense. But she was playing to it. Her and Gunther played the crowd really well. And the crowd was kind of going dead a little bit during Shinsuke and Ludwig, I think is what his name is now, Kaiser. Yeah. And each time Gunther would get up and go work the crowd a little bit. But the crowd was a little weird as far as I guess some of the chants didn't make sense. I will say that I got the biggest surprise that I've had at a live event since Hulk Hogan got his shorts pulled down right in front of me. And that was where we were seated. I was able to see the entrance, and I saw a female come out, stand in the entrance with her back turned, and I kept thinking, that looks like somebody, there's no way they got fired. And then the bird shows up on the screen, and then the music starts, and which is going to take me into what I want to talk about next. Okay, Karrion Kross shows up at the end, beats up Drew McIntyre, but the fact that Karrion Kross showed back up where he was let go with his valet, with his original music, just another sign that Vince McMahon is completely gone.
Yeah, it's H bringing back all his guys, right? Like all his NXT babies. And I'm actually going to tell you, Karrion Kross NXT bad guy, I was in for. Karrion Kross, the weird dude in the BDSM suit that showed up on Raw, was a bad decision. It was just a bad decision.
That was a let me bury another one of Hunter's guys.
Exactly right. It was a bad decision. To the point that when it was happening at the time, I think I even said on the air, I was like, is it just me, or does it feel like Vince is intentionally screwing NXT guys when they get called up to get rid of them? Now he's gone, and I'm going to say this. I said this a number of times. I flipped over to AEW, and it wasn't necessarily because I was like, oh, I hope. No, scratch that. It was not because it was, oh, I hope WWE fails. I flipped over because AEW was putting on a better show, subjectively, and in my opinion, was putting on a better show with a style of wrestling I liked better. Since Vince got curbed and H has taken over, Raw and SmackDown have already gotten dramatically better, and you know H is not done. Because Raw, if I recall, it's either Monday or next Monday. Where is Raw? Cleveland, Ohio. And who is being speculated as the next call-up? Johnny Wrestling. Johnny Gargano coming back. And who would be available to show up and be alongside him in a spot that he's already kind of working away from the guy he was paired up with by Vince? Tommaso Ciampa, right? Give me DIY back, which is a project Hunter put together. And for a while, I think DIY was maybe the most over tag team in the world on NXT.
Especially the finisher. All right, Trey on the stream says, where I was at people didn't recognize Killer Cross and Scarlett. Here's the thing, Trey. First of all, it's a work. I think a lot of people come to a crowd and pretend like, who are you? And they get a chant started, and they think it's really cool to get your own chant started at a wrestling event. There's a chance that maybe they didn't know who it was, but the majority of those people who was chanting, it was a small pocket. The majority of those people, I bet they knew who it was. And Shivani told us this as well as anybody when he said that people understand that they can be a part of what's going on. So they make more expressions, they say things, trying to get camera time, and I think a lot of this is what that is.
I disagree. I think that because, and I think we all do this, especially in our line of work, I think we all get to a point where when we go in hard in these sports, and it doesn't matter what the sport is, we kind of work on the assumption that everybody else is too. NXT was good, but NXT was not a mainstream wrestling show. You had to go out of your way to watch NXT. I think there are a lot of main roster fans that went, all right, I got 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown. That's 5 hours of wrestling a week if you're a WWE fan. I can't do NXT too, or I'm not going to go through the extra steps to watch NXT like I can easily do so with both of those other shows on basic cable. I don't think NXT, even at its height, was as big as you and I feel like it should have been when it was black and gold and at its best. I think a lot of people don't know who Karrion Kross was outside of the 2K games if you bought them. That being said, the call-up in the first round was bad. The NXT gimmick was good. The only question I have is, you're not going to take away a McIntyre push and a McIntyre victory in the UK in front of his hometown fans to strap Karrion Kross, which is, if H makes that decision, in my opinion, it will be his first Vince McMahon-esque decision of, I'm going to do what I want, even if it's not the popular call.
All right, so here's the thing. Here's what I think. As far as Roman losing the belt, I don't think it's going to be a straight-up loss. I think it's going to be because of interference, because of he's involved in a three-way, something like that, and this is a perfect opportunity to do that. I think Drew can still get the belt because Karrion Kross either is inserted in the match as another competitor or he comes out and does something to cause Roman to lose. And that makes him right away something that maybe he never achieved in NXT. It just right away, he's the guy who caused Roman to lose.
Now, I think you, listen, there was a story that came out a handful of days ago where the USA Network is peeved at WWE because they have not had a champion, a true champion on their show in years, basically, right? In 2.5 years now, Roman's been double strapped on SmackDown. Monday Night Raw has not had a top-tier champion in 2 years at this point. And the USA Net, with all that's going on at WWE, effectively was like, hey, Steph, we want a belt. We want a big belt. We want a reason to watch, which means that the best way to do that is to split the belt. So my prediction here is going to be that between now and Clash at the Castle, you're going to end up having H create a situation where Roman has to fight twice and defend both belts independently. He will beat Karrion Kross for the SmackDown title early in the show and then lose to McIntyre late in the show, which gives a split of the belt. They move McIntyre over to Raw at that point with that belt. And now you've got Roman's next monster to take on in Karrion Kross, which, by the way, the other rumor that came out was that this was all a build towards Roman having a farewell match, because we know Roman said it out of kayfabe multiple times. He's kind of getting to the end and wants to go to Hollywood and kind of go the Cena route. The story was The Rock was going to lay down for Roman at WrestleMania. Roman was going to leave the belts in the ring and call it a career. But now Rock, because of the dirt going on around WWE, Rock pulled out, right? Because he's got a squeaky clean Hollywood image he wants to protect. He doesn't want to be involved with that. So now they've got to split these belts up, and Kross can be the monster that is Roman's next challenge before WrestleMania, and you don't take the push away from McIntyre at the same time, and you don't make Roman look weak, because to fight Karrion and then have to fight Roman an hour and a half later, or fight McIntyre an hour and a half later, it would make sense that he would lose that match without looking like he's damaged goods at that point.
All right, so James on the stream says if they fired Kevin Dunn, I'd consider watching again. I would say consider watching again. There's a noticeable difference. Is it completely changed yet? No, but there's just a feeling to it. There are the wrestling matches are longer. The storylines are starting to make sense. People are not having their character changed as soon as they're moved up. I think there's more excitement now for the WWE than there is for AEW, and AEW is in trouble for that reason, because they were the alternative, and now we're starting to see it's people want WWE to be good. There are people out there that really want it to be what it used to be, and it's kind of trending that way. We'll see where it ends up.
I'm up until last night, AEW has been not great, but AEW's also got screws up against them because Omega's been out, Punk's been out, Daniel Bryanson's been out. The biggest names, with the exception of the Bucks and maybe that's it, have all been out due to injury. It's unfortunate. Yeah, I believe Punk came back last night for a showdown with Mox. AEW was put in a tough spot. I think they're fine. They're also doing a lot of backstage stuff with talent relations, which has been a big problem. They're starting to let some of the contracts of wrestlers they've not been using expire. I think AEW is fine, but I also agree that the exponential growth they've experienced over the past couple of years is about to slow down dramatically because WWE is good again. I will still watch AEW more than WWE right now. That may change in the future, because AEW is an adult-themed wrestling show. And I, a man without children, am an adult. Shut up. I hear you, Mark Ryan. I am an adult. So I'm going to watch the adult-themed wrestling show where they say bad moves and they're more violent in an acting sense. But I know that's not true for everybody. As Alonzo has said 100 times, and I've agreed with him even in my AEW is better than WWE days, I want them both to be great, because if they're both good, they push each other to both be better, and we've gotten that out of WWE in the last 2 weeks. It absolutely feels better.
All right, to that end, you mentioned something that was going to lead me where I was going to go next. There used to be a wrestling organization that was that for everybody. They were more adult, which my definition and your definition of adult, two different things.
Sure.
They were full of blood. They were full of craziness. And that's ECW. Is AEW just the modern version of ECW?
No, I don't think so, because I think ECW was almost gratuitous for the sake of gratuitous, where I think AEW kind of fits gratuitous into spots that it fits. I'll tell you, the only problem that I have with it right now is somebody needs to tell Jon Moxley, you don't have to blade every match, pal. Like, I have now migrated into Zoe's camp of, there's a line where you lose the drama of a guy getting split. And when Mox bleeds every match or makes somebody bleed every match, the blood loses the oh gosh factor.
Right, it
It's
does.
just, it's coming. You just don't know when.
You get desensitized to it.
Right. And I think they hit that point with Moxley, but Darby Allin right now is must-see TV. Even if I think he's going to kill himself at 38, it's must-watch TV. That match with Brody King last night was as entertaining as we've seen it in a long time. It had run-ins, it had surprise show-ups, it had blood, but it also had a really, really good ending to it as well. I think AEW still does all of that great, and they add the EC dub factor in drama spots where it needs to be, and it makes the show better. I just hope they don't go too far with it.
All right, two more things really quick before we go to break. One, I don't see myself, I don't know about you,
You're right there.
laying in a coffin for that long like Sting did before coming out of the coffin for the surprise.
Sting's almost 70 and still throwing himself off the upper levels of arenas.
Mm-hmm.
I am afraid to walk down the stairs that I will hurt myself, and Sting is launching himself off the second level.
All right, last thing, James says, thankfully AEW's still highest rated show on Wednesdays. But what's that mean? Who's it against? Now, if they were going head to head and they were winning, that's different, but they're not. They're the only show on Wednesday.
They did. Speaking of, they did, and it's on Vince, not Hunter.
Beating NXT.
Beat NXT in the Wednesday
again, they beat.
But that's a startup company. That's not like a 20-year
A
established
startup company beat developmental. And earlier on in this segment, you talked about how not that many people knew about NXT because it's developmental.
Right,
it's not a real victory. If they're going against Raw or SmackDown, then I consider it a real victory.
But this was an NXT that had effectively at the time one mainstream star in it in Chris Jericho and a bunch of guys that casual wrestling fans don't know.
That was 3 years ago. The other question I have for you, and we definitely have to take a break, is do you know any other show that's on Wednesday night?
Not off the top of my head. I really don't.
So who are they beating?
But I'm watching baseball.
By the way, I love AEW. They've elevated to where I would hope they would be. There's still a few things they need to fix, but nothing's perfect. I think you can love them both. But yeah, who are they beating? I don't know what's on Wednesday.
Real quick, couple of texts that have come in about this. Texter says, everyone turning on Liv Morgan was classic. It was. That's a natural turn. And that's what's wrestling at its best.
And by the way, I thought she dealt with it really well.
I thought she did too. Texter says, let's head to Charlotte October 24th for Raw. SmackDown was good, but it ain't Raw. Hashtag TX experience. I'm in for that. Texter says, Liv was legit shook. So was the interviewer. She said it was not scripted. I believe that. That's organic. That's when wrestling's at its best. Fan, they're going to split the titles and Cross is going to win run. Roman keeps the other. Now, I think McIntyre wins one and Cross hunts Roman for a while. And Bray Wyatt will be back very soon. I agree with that as well. And AEW needs MJF back real bad. I think he's coming back real soon. I really do. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. James says ECW's main problem was Heyman's bank account and talent leaving her. Yeah, absolutely. When ECW and WWF did their crossover for a while, it was really good. Like, they did some great stuff. But at the end of the day, that's an unsustainable business model because casual fans aren't going to stay with an ECW model. And that's my concern about AEW too, is the longer if you lean on gratuitous and nothing else, casual fans will bail. If you have some gratuitous violence in the midst of a good wrestling show, the casual fans will stay there, even if they are uncomfortable for a segment or two. But isn't making people uncomfortable one of the best things you can do in wrestling, right?
Except for death matches. Sorry. That goes beyond uncomfortable.
Give me more Nick Cage.
No.
Not Nick
It's
Cage.
not
What's
Nick
his
Cage.
name?
But you can give me more Nick Cage, but no, it's not. I forget the guy's name. I've blocked him out of my mind. I can't help but think every time we do this segment about how we get no interaction between people on Facebook and Twitter, that it's such a dead thing because, there are no real wrestling fans according to that other show.
Well, no real men.
Yeah. Speaking of blood, I thought Brody there were puddles of blood all over the place. That was getting dangerous. When they moved the table and it went through the blood, it's like, someone could slip and really hurt themselves in that stuff.
That being said, that blood in that match felt in place, didn't it? It didn't feel like that was out of place. Like that genuinely was like, okay, all right, these boys are hurting.
Yeah, anytime Darby Allin's involved, something's going to be broken or every time.
Yeah, like his freaking neck. That absolute psychopath.
Didn't even get to Dexter Lumis. Man, I hope Dexter Lumis, as we talked about on the stream before, I hope Dexter Lumis is that creepy Dexter.
Yep.
Did that thing where I put that report in the wrong place, but it doesn't matter. Oops. No, I didn't. I'll put it in the right place. Why do I doubt myself? I don't know.
Bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Time for Twitter trending topics, where I tell Rob what is trending and he tells us why. First, Trey on the stream says, I saw a meme that WWE is becoming like AEW because they're starting to sign ex-WWE guys.
I love it.
That's pretty funny. All right, D, first thing that's trending is Game Pass.
No idea why it's trending.
Oh, you're going to love this.
Bring it.
Here's why it's trending. Xbox claims PlayStation's new that PlayStation is trying to get other gaming companies to not put their games on Game Pass.
I am honestly surprised that Game Pass has been as successful as it's been. Mainly because of the publishing companies, right? Like, because if I'm paying, what is Game Pass now? Like 20-something bucks a month?
Depending on which package you get.
Yeah. I've got the gold, which gives me the ability to play online, etc.
I think it's $15.99 that gets you everything.
Yeah, with taxes like just shy of $20.
It gets you being able to play not only on console but on computer.
Yeah. So I've got it, and I got to tell you, there's probably, I don't know, 12 to 15 games on my Xbox right now that I got through Game Pass. You buy one, I mean, you download one game a month, you save $35 of a new game every month. I mean, it's a fantastic deal. I'm genuinely surprised that it has lasted as long as it's lasted, primarily because of the fact that publishing companies, I can't imagine how they're making money off of this, right? So PlayStation asking these publishing companies, hey, stop doing that, or maybe trying to work a better deal out with them, doesn't surprise me at all. I hope it doesn't go away. It's been phenomenal for me.
Yeah, I've thought the same thing. I don't know how they make money, especially on day one releases being on Game Pass as opposed to having to pay $60 to buy the game. I don't get it. I just hope it keeps going because I'm enjoying it and have since its inception. All right, the next thing that's trending is Tyreek Hill.
So Tyreek Hill apparently has been making waves for the Dolphins in camp so far, including had a highlight reel catch. Somebody earlier on Twitter, let's see if I can find the tweet that caused it. Jalen Waddle just hauled in a practice TD versus the Bucs from Tua. How are they going to cover Waddle and Tyreek? And I asked my buddy Andrew, a Miami Dolphins fan, I said, the best way to cover Tyreek is have Tua throw him the ball, right? Like, that's got to be it.
Yeah, that's got to be it.
Pressure's on that kid, man. Like, pressure's on that kid. Miami's expected to be good this year. Tyreek is going to be the reason Tua succeeds if he does.
Yeah, and the coach is everywhere because he's kind of quirky and he's kind of goofy and he's pretty funny. I kind of like him. All right, the final thing that's trending is Ezra Miller again.
Oh, this one's weird, dude. This one's super weird. So I guess police have been searching for the mother of some children that was in the company of Ezra Miller. Things started going weird for Ezra Miller a couple of months back, where he lost his mind at a karaoke event, or they lost their mind at a karaoke event, and it's been downhill, and now there's a missing persons connected. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, hope you guys weren't jacked about the Flash movie, because even though they've been working reshoots with Ezra Miller, that thing's it's going the way of Batgirl. It's done.
All right, so he just was arrested again for stealing alcohol out of someone's house. And I forget the exact alcohol. I don't know if it was really expensive, but it doesn't matter. He went into someone's house and stole their booze. And now I'm seeing everywhere that they're really thinking of canceling that movie.
Yeah, it's done. There's no way. And especially if this missing persons case turns into be something more than just, she went out drinking and he left her in a hotel room and she shows up later. This thing's done. As is this show, for far less dramatic reasons. That's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. You go into the jungle on the Jim Rose Show next. You got Mark, Ryan, and Diesel taking you offsides at 3. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Don't trick your job. I'll punch you in the face. For Lonzo, my name's Rob Brown. Thank you so much for listening. Sincerely, we mean it from the bottom of our icy dark hearts. It's the Rob Brown Show, right here on the Fan Upstate. Later, brother.
Here's a stream exclusive before we leave. Baker!
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys. You're